All right, Blacks, we are back here at the P.O. Box. One of my favorite parts of the podcast is we get to hear about y'all drama and tea. But before we get into that today, we want to let you know that you too can be on the podcast by writing into Ask the Jigsaw. That's ASK, not AX, because we Black. We just ASK. The Jigsaw at gmail.com. And we will do a few things once we get your letter. We will read it out loud if we like it. We're going to give you a pseudonym because we respect your pronouns and your privacy. We're going to give you the best non-professional therapeutic advice that you can receive on Cicely Tyson's internet. So with that being said, understood and accepted, Brian, who do we have and what do they want?
Pronouns, he, him.
Oh, since you were just talking about books, let's go LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton, good.
Isn't he one of like yours, like heroes?
Oh yeah, LeVar Burton.
I feel like you talked about him.
Yeah, LeVar Burton and Mr. Rogers. Like, my mom had some. My mom, when I was like, I was in preschool for a little bit, but my mom had me watching PBS all day. So LeVar Burton, and Mr. Rogers are like two of my heroes in life. So I loved books when I was a kid, and I loved Mr. Rogers, and I still wear cardigans and stuff to this day because Mr. Rogers. LeVar Burton writes, "Hey y'all, I've been listening to the podcast for a minute, and I trust y'all's advice. So here I am laying out my dilemma. Right. I recently got offered what I thought would be my dream job in New York City. Working for a top company in my field, great pay, benefits, the whole nine. This job has been my goal since college, and it's everything I thought I wanted until I had to make the choice. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm currently living in a small southern town close to the family and friends, and I love my life here. The pace is slower. I feel connected to my community, and I've got a rhythm that brings me peace. But this job, it would mean big opportunities, possibly even a platform for me making a change in my field on a larger scale. It's also a drastic change in lifestyle, and real talk, the cost of living in New York is no joke. You're absolutely right. My family and friends are all saying different things. Some think I'd be crazy to not go. Others remind me that happiness isn't always about the paycheck or the job title. And here I am, smack in the middle, wondering if I'll regret letting go of my dream job or if I'll lose a piece of myself by chasing it. So, what would you do? Would you go for the dream job in a city that might drain your soul, or would you stay for the dream life you already have, even if it means possibly missing out on a career milestone? I need some guidance, and I know y'all will keep it real with me. Thanks for listening to my situation, LeVar Burton.
I was in a similar situation when I came to Morehouse. And it didn't have anything to do with like me not necessarily want to go to HBCU at first. It was more or less about the like fear of leaving. I wanted to go, like Vanderbilt was my top school. I don't think that was a mystery to anybody. Yeah. And I applied to University of Washington, St. Louis, which was another really good liberal arts school, but St. Louis was literally 3 hours from Memphis, right? And then Duke was like the furthest school I applied to. I think I was just enamored by the allure of Duke.
That would be something.
Wouldn't it have been something had I went to Duke?
Yeah.
Wow. We thank God for, ordering our steps. But anyway, all the schools I applied to were in like I think the furthest school I applied to was the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. But in my brain, I don't think I calculated the 5 to 6 hour distance because it was Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, but going to Georgia, Atlanta, like that was foreign to me, but I did it anyway. I don't know that I have any contemplation because I was going, but I do think I wonder what it would have been like to leave Memphis. I also, I'll be honest, sometimes felt guilt because I'm the only sibling that left. And there have been times I FaceTime with my family and they in there like at my mama's house laughing, joking, and I'm just in Memphis. I mean, in Atlanta. And I love my family.
Yeah.
But there were those, because we're not super, super close to our extended family. So like our, immediate family is, so when I see my sisters over there on a random Sunday with my mom, I'm like, or, or if it's like Mother's Day and they at the crib or, or my dad and they fired up the grill on a summer night, what I'm saying? I'm just like, I can't get none of my daddy ribs.
Right.
So I feel what it means. I will say this though. while Atlanta is not my favorite, I don't know that I ever would have intentionally chose Atlanta to live this much of my adulthood in.
Yeah.
I will say the opportunities that I've been afforded because of being here, I don't know that I would have had those same opportunities had I stayed in Memphis.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's because Atlanta's just this better city. I just think by the way in which life had taken me, like Morehouse and Habitat for Humanity, like some of those things, like those people that I met at those spaces would not have met. I'll even say some of the people that we met at Cathedral, like, right? Of course, you and Chris, friendships I wouldn't have had. I'll even say like people like Wayne Martin. While we're not like best bros, there are some connections he's introduced me to that have afforded opportunities. That was because he, you know what I'm saying, the network that he introduced me to. So again, not to say that God couldn't have opened similar doors. I'm just telling you what my path is now. And that path would not have been what it is if I had chosen not to make that move. So I think you have to wrestle with, and that's true because money cannot buy. You can go up to New York and be miserable.
Yeah.
I think what I would do, and I'll end with this. I want to hear what you guys say, Brian. Remember when we left Brockett City and I told you that if life would have been a little different, I would have been nomadic?
Yeah.
For me, I would take that approach in my life right now. I would go and be like, I'm going to go do the New York thing for about 3-4 years. And after 3-4 years, I mean, after the first 2 years, you probably could determine whether you like it or not. So you use that last year, those last 2 years to plan your next move. So either you go back to this, and then you would have, if you're saying this job can do all these kind of things, your resume would be built, your reputation would be built, your subject matter expertise would have grown. You probably can go wherever you want to go. And if this job is as big as you say it is, there are very few important jobs, and I'm using quotes here, important, that don't require you to travel at some point, which means you're going to see the world possibly. And you'll be able to say like I've been to LA, and as much as I like LA, I could never live in LA, right? I've been to New York. I like New York, but I couldn't live in New York unless I knew it was temporary. Right. So just use it as a learning experience. And if you are single with no kids and you can afford it, go home as often as you like. Once a month, maybe, at least holidays. I don't know. But I would say don't deny the opportunity because of fear. Explore it. And even if after 1 year you don't like it, leave, quit. But do it. I say do it.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Right now I'm 39. If I was not married or had a child, even at this big age of 39, and there was a job opportunity in another state, I would consider it. It depends on where it was, of course. Like, I would consider it. I'm not. No, it would either be if it's like a big city, I'd probably do it. Especially like say if it's temporary. You know what I'm saying? Like even like even talking about like Los Angeles. I'm from California. I don't want to live in Los Angeles, but if it was like a temporary situation and the money was like I could like afford it and have a decent lifestyle, of course I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do New York. I would do Chicago. I would do a big city, especially if I knew it was temporary. Because often, like to your point, like if you're having to relocate something like that, you're probably getting paid a good amount of money. You have the ability to travel if you want to. You have the freedom and the flexibility when you're off, like do a weekend trip to the house. You know what I'm saying? Like there's all kind of things you can do. And I feel like living in different places provides different opportunities, but also like, and I regret it sometimes, like to your point, as far as not being nomadic, like I lived in California, I lived in Georgia. That's it. And I feel like I love those people who have moved around a lot because they have all these stories. They can say like, oh, when I lived in this place and my favorite restaurant was there. Like I always wanted to be not always, but like now I'm thinking like, man, I would have
a piece of that. Yeah.
I would have loved to been that person who said, oh, I used to live in Chicago. I used to do that. And I used to live in that place and my apartment, or I would love to have like an apartment downtown and overlooked, and then go to the, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, think about all the dope cities we've been to, Josh. Like, and you have like a spot there and you hung out there and then, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like when you're young, or just single, like, or in childless, I feel like take the advantage of those opportunities to see the world and do things you never would have done. And you might, if you're single, you might find the love of your life in that city. There's all kind of different things. So I would say do it. That I would do it. I would even do it right now. Married and with a child, if the right opportunity
opportunity came,
I'm taking it.
I can't. I may like pray on it. I ain't gonna say I am gonna pray on it.
Yeah.
I may have some hesitation because I'll be especially I think the only thing that will stop me right now is like the fact that my kids are so much older in school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I was like in your situation, like with a 5-year-old, like kindergarten, you ain't got no friends. Not no real friends.
No, for real.
Yeah, like
fine.
it's easy. Like, not to say that it wouldn't be a transition for a child either, but it's much easier for a pre-K student to transition than it is a high schooler or a middle schooler.
Yeah.
And I think that would be much easier. I think right now though it would be considering my kids in school. But if it's like, let's just say DEI wasn't under attack.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And some big corporation said, come in and be our senior vice president of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we're gonna pay you all this money and do all these things, relocate. And no, like me and Ash would be a fool not to seriously sit down
to consider
and
it.
be like, what are we doing? Right.
Yeah.
So and to Brian's point, my last thing I'll say is take advantage of the time where you do not have to be responsible for anyone else. Whatever your preferences are in a partner, the fact that you don't have children, like when those things come, your decisions are not solely yours. Yes, you still consider what's best for you.
Yep.
But it impacts the people. Like especially if you're married, it impacts them, right? Because like Asha would mind not working, but I think there's something in her heart too where she's like, she want her own money. Mm-hmm. We actually just had that conversation. We talked about somebody. She had a friend who said she wanted to stop working. Ash was like, even if it was part-time, she's, I want to be able to say this is mine. Oh. So I have that kind of wife, which I appreciate. Right?
Yeah.
So like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, it's not going to just impact you if you get into those situations. So while those aren't situations, live life and explore. Like, if your family ain't going nowhere, guess what? They ain't going nowhere. They're gonna be right there when you come back. Yeah, and they'll understand.
Yeah,
they'll understand.
Yeah. Speaking of Ashley, said she wanted her. Lauren, she's trying to find every excuse to not work. Yeah, she said if I make a certain amount, she already gave the dollar amount. She said if I make this dollar amount consistently, she's quitting. And I'm like, girl, you have a doctorate. Like what? Like why? Mm-hmm. Like make this money, girl. But I get it though.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it too. I feel like Ashley would quit if I made a certain amount, but I also feel like there's a part of her that would go do something. Yeah. And I think that's where she's at. And it may be like, let me start my own practice and counsel like one kid a month or something. Mm-hmm. Like she would do something.
Just so you can work.
Yeah, just so she can work. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's up.
All right.
Well, shout out to LeVar Burton.